The Trump Department of Justice yesterday carried through with a Joe Biden Department of Justice attack on the Second Amendment. And I want to tell you all about it because this is a law that I have been reporting on for a couple of years as it's been challenged. And I think this is one of those ones where a rogue leftover person in the DOJ is continuing this, but we need to make some noise to fix this. Can a state stand up to the federal government and say, we are not enforcing your unconstitutional gun laws? Well, immediately people should say yes. But that's exactly what Missouri has tried to do. And now the Biden DOJ's leftover somebody is pushing forward in court on a challenge. Stick around because this is a major turning point here in the fight between state sovereignty and federal overreach. Hey everybody, my name is Jared. This is Guns and Gadgets, the premier source for Second Amendment news. If you love the Second Amendment, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and enable the notifications with the bell so that you never miss an update on what the mainstream media won't touch. Today's video is sponsored by CMMG. CMMG is a renowned company, renowned for crafting innovative, reliable tools that empower responsible tool owners. Their commitment to quality and the Second Amendment makes them a perfect partner for this channel. Their support allows me to get you the information you need to advocate for the Second Amendment, and that really means a lot, guys and gals. Thank you to CMMG for always standing behind what I do and what I say. It means a lot. All right, back in 2021, Missouri passed something called the Second Amendment Preservation Act, or SAPA. Some people call it SAPA. Either way, the law said that Missouri would not help the feds enforce certain gun control laws that they believe violate the Second Amendment. In fact, it went further. It made it illegal for Missouri cops to help the feds, even if they were federally deputized. And it came with a $50,000 fine per violation to the individual, not for the taxpayers. Now, Missouri's message was clear. We will not be agents of federal gun control. Well, back then, the Biden Department of Justice didn't like that one bit. So in 2022, they sued the state of Missouri, and our friend here at the channel has been pushing forward with it, Attorney General Andrew Bailey. But Biden's DOJ was claiming that SAPA violated the Supremacy Clause, the part of the Constitution that says federal law trumps state law, only when it works for them. Now, the DOJ said that Missouri's law was interfering with federal gun law enforcement, discriminating against federal agents, and even discouraging people from becoming federal officers. The case went up to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, and the court sided with the Department of Justice. They ruled that Missouri wasn't just refusing to cooperate with the feds, which is allowed, but they were actually trying to invalidate federal laws, and that's not allowed. So the court blocked SAPA from being enforced, and Missouri asked the Supreme Court to step in. But here's where things get really interesting. The Biden DOJ, the Trump Department of Justice, just filed their response with the Supreme Court. And they're not changing their tune. They don't want the Supreme Court to take up SAPA at all. Now, they're saying some parts go too far. We're really not okay with this. We have standing as a federal, government. And they're opposing Missouri's attempt to thwart federal gun control within the state. See, it's really misunderstood. What SAPA does, and a couple states have tried to pass since, it says, look, feds, you can do whatever you want. You can enforce your little unconstitutional gun control, but you have to do it. We won't help you. We won't give you a 50 cents a piece. We won't give you a silver dollar. We won't give you a penny. We won't give you any manpower. And that's a big problem for the feds because that's how they operate. Feds, when they come in to do a raid, they always lean on local police, state police, or sheriffs because the feds don't have the manpower. I mean, last I checked, there was like 3,600 ATF agents to go across the country. That's really not a lot when you think of how many areas that they operate in, right? So they always lean on the local authorities. And Missouri was saying, hell no, bro, you can't do that. And it's great. It's great. Now, will the Supreme Court hear this case? I don't know. It seems they're going through another period where they don't want to touch Second Amendment cases. They did that for a decade until they took up Bruin. But this case could be a huge win for the Second Amendment and state sovereignty. Now, the DOJ says at least two parts of SAPA are blatantly unconstitutional. Section 1.470, if I remember the number right, it bans, like I said, bans Missouri law enforcement agencies from hiring anybody who helped federal gun enforcement. So if you were a member of Department X and you got jammed up and fined the $50,000 and terminated, which this does, well, then you couldn't be rehired anywhere else in the state because you helped the feds. I mean, I kind of really like that. The feds also had a problem with Section 1.460, which fines police $50,000 per instance if they help federal gun law enforcement. Now, that's even if they were acting under federal authority, which is a tool that the feds use, as we're seeing right now in California. They have federally deputized the National Guard. Now, according to the DOJ, these sections discriminate against federal employees and interfere with federal law enforcement. It doesn't do that at all. It just says Missouri is going to not enforce your unconstitutional gun control. But here's the big picture. This case isn't about whether you like federal gun laws. It's about who gets the final say. Is it the state or the federal government? And that's a question a lot of states have been leaning on lately. All of your anti-gun states, they're saying we're the ones who can do assault weapon bans. We're the ones who can limit magazine capacity. We're the ones who can tell you where you can carry and where you can't. We're the ones who tell you how to lock up your tools inside your own home. We're the ones who say you can't own certain ones because they're scary looking. We're the ones who say jump through these hoops, go shoot that target X amount of times until we say you're able to do that. And that's not the way this works. The Second Amendment says everybody has the inalienable right to keep and bear arms for defense of themselves and others and a free state. So Missouri's saying we will not be bullied into helping the federal government infringe on the Second Amendment. And that's powerful. That's very, very powerful. That's the kind of boldness we need from states. And I want to personally say thank you to Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General of Missouri, a friend of mine here. And keep pushing, brother. Keep pushing. Now, even though the DOJ wants the Supreme Court to ignore the case, the fact that this is still alive, I guess, is something we could look towards as a positive. We'll see what happens. I don't know. The Supreme Court is an absolute utter joke. But if you live in a pro-Second Amendment state, this is the kind of law you should be demanding from your state lawmakers. SAPA-style legislation should be spreading into every state in the union. It's time that we stand our ground and remind D.C. that we will not be disarmed by executive fiat or unconstitutional laws. If you want them, come take them. Contact your state legislators, guys and gals. Share this video. Support your state-level gun right groups and your federal ones, of course, as well. If you found this video helpful and informative, please give it a thumbs up to help it through this unconstitutional algorithm and share it with your fellow patriots. And don't forget to subscribe to Guns and Gadgets so that you stay up to date on our fight for our rights. It's crazy. But again, a big thank you to CMMG for sponsoring today's episode. Until next time, everybody, stay armed, stay informed, and stay free. We're not giving up our firearms. Take care.